Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Fatback 4 for this Sunday night. Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Divock Origi 1. And Divock Origi sends the Divock Origi Ultras to the top of the Premier League for a couple of hours yesterday. On the show tonight, we're going to go all the way through Wolves against Liverpool. We're going to have a big chat around Divock Origi. We're going to talk about how defensive Wolves were. I was absolutely shocked at them yesterday. And we asked the question, is this a 20-plus game run-in? Because it's starting to look that way. There's just loads to get through. Loads and loads and loads to get through. But Kev, Seany and Keith are with me to sort it all out. Seany, straight into it. How did you feel after that game yesterday? Without giving me any details about the match, how did you feel, Seany, in yourself?
Elation. Like this the proper, we've had fans back in the stadium now since the start of the season, and look, obviously it's improved tenfold, but that's what I was proper about yesterday, like the eruption of the bench and the away supporters after the goal. It's really I think that this at the line, the touch paper now on the title race. I think the title race has now started in December. You know what I mean? Like normally you said a 20-game run in. Yeah, literally looking now, it's going to be dig for dig, so to speak, every week. And look, yesterday showed that we have the guts again. That's what really stood out to me, is that this seems like a little bit of a, not going to say watershed, but it feels like sort of a mark of this team's mentality again, that they're ready to go. And you see some of the stuff that the players posted on social media afterwards, like they fucking want this badly. They yearn for silverware this year. And we'll get on to individuals in the output. Look, it's just elation and relief as well.
Okay. Keith, I done a post-match show yesterday, and we had loads of fun and people seemed to like it. And you were in there and you said, not long after I said,
I might have said it first, Gav.
No, I think I said it first, and then you borrowed your arse to come on and look at the show. That's what happened. I didn't want to say it, but look, that's where we are.
I might have put it into WhatsApp and you stole it from there, but no, never.
Semantics, gentlemen, semantics.
I'm going to go and fucking get the timestamps on them now. But we're both in agreement, Keith.
Yeah.
Your feelings after the game, I felt like this is Villa all over again.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's how it felt to me, and Seany's right. It gave you that bit of, a rush that we haven't had in a long time. We've gone through the steroid shite of no fans at football, and I know we lifted the league title under them circumstances, but all of us are under no illusions that it wasn't what we enjoy watching as a spectacle. And it's come back, and the difference the fans being there has been enormous, as Seany said. But when you get that moment, and that Villa moment where, I think it might have been Seany actually said in the chat as well at one stage that, these teams, it's a kick in the balls to them. Do you know what I mean? If you're looking at a 3-horse race, even at this stage, and you think one of them is going to drop points, and then they pull it out of the bag like that, it's brilliant for you. It does two things. It lifts you, and it knocks the bollocks out of the other ones. And that's what yesterday felt to me. It was a sucker punch to the other teams that were looking on. Because, you can say, well, they're not going to care. They know they're going to drop points, and Liverpool will drop points, and Chelsea will drop points, City will drop points. I think it was even said when the Villa game happened that I think City lost that weekend, didn't they? They lost that day earlier on, and
no, I think they might have drawn.
They were losing at the same time.
Yeah, they were 3 o'clock kickoffs.
That's right.
I think we were 1-0 down, City were 1-0 up.
Yeah,
our 1-0 down went 2-1 up. They had gone ahead. We were still behind. Robertson equalised and then scores. And I think City draw. I think it might be Southampton.
Yeah, was it Spurs?
No, Southampton.
Southampton, was it? And it was just a swing. And I know, that it didn't happen like that this weekend. Right, Chelsea lost and we win. City win. So it looks like, the pressure even at this stage is going to affect, teams. We weren't great yesterday. We'll come on to the game, but you get that out of the bag at that stage, and it just gives your whole team a lift. It gives your fan base a lift. I mean, if Divock doesn't come up and score that goal in the 93rd minute, 94th minute, this show tonight is different. Do you know what I mean? As it is, there's a pep in the step, and we're going to be talking about it as it goes on. But it just had that feel about Villa the year we won it, when the team, the mentality monsters sort of showed up, and you know, they were snatching victories from the jaws of defeat, or a victory from the jaws of a draw, and it just had that feeling about it, Gav. And I think the team needs it. I think we've been quite methodical the way we've been going about our business. But to give us that spark now, that's the little injection that we need, just to give us a kick up the arse and get us moving.
Yeah, no, a couple of people are correcting me, and I'll tell you, and they're right. City win that weekend, but what happens is I think we play City the following weekend, and at one stage it would have been City within 3 points of us and going to Anfield, and they could have went level, where it turns out we beat them the following week and go 9 points clear them. So that's what happened. You're dead right, but I'm nearly sure it was Southampton. But yeah, it was one of those. Kev, you know, we're going to talk about the possible 20 plus game running later on, but you know, going into that, like, away from the emotion of Origi scoring and just the 3 points of it, Kev, because Chelsea, I thought, were in decent control for me against West Ham, and then somehow found a way to lose the game. And we've kind of let them off the hook a couple of times, Chelsea in particular this season, when they've dropped points and we haven't capitalised. But when you sit down after that and all the emotion there, Kev, yes, you're kind of going, that's huge, because not only is it massive for us, but it's massive for Chelsea going, no, we've given them that. They've given us their chances now, and they're not going to fucking let go again.
Yeah, here's the thing. Look, yesterday morning before a ball was kicked, if Chelsea won and we lost, it's a 5 point gap, I think. And in a 3-horse race, a 5 point gap can become an 8 point gap very quickly if the headspace isn't right. Coming out of that, when Chelsea lost and we were going into the 93rd minute, all I was thinking was, please do something. Whatever happens, at worst case scenario, don't fucking lose it.
Yeah.
That was my biggest fear. Don't fuck it up. You know, but whatever you do, if we can get something, we have to get something. You can't keep looking a gift horse in the mouth and not taking it. And I didn't watch it yesterday. I couldn't watch it. So I listened to it in the radio. And it was a different game completely to the one that I watched at 8 o'clock when it was on Sky. Because the actual radio commentary was fucking unreal. The way they described certain aspects of the game when I watched it live or re-live later on. We'll get to it later. But for what it's done for the title chase, it's put us in the driving seat to an extent. It's in our hands what happens now, because we've got to play both of them. And you'd rather be... I think this is the one season you want to be a front runner. You don't want to be behind chasing down a Man City or a Chelsea.
Is that because you feel there's 3 at the minute?
It's because
if you're chasing 2, it's harder. If you're, you know, like if it's 1-on-1, chasing is nearly easier. But if you've 2 of them around you, chasing becomes harder because you're watching both of them. Like you said, you want to be a front runner. You're out in front, and you go, you know what? We just do our business, and they'll kill each other.
Any mistake that happens, because no matter what happens, Chelsea and City are going to take points off of each other. You know, irrespective. So anything else that happens in between that, as long as we're doing our business, we're okay. And City will feel the same. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, I think they're still at a point ahead of us, but they're not going to go away. They're not going to go away. They're very experienced. They know exactly what they're doing. So do we. We're very experienced. And in fairness, it's something that for another night that we're going to have to address is the actual age of our squad. The average age of our starting 11 yesterday, I think, was 28, pushing 29. So I was worried when we get onto it. I was worried yesterday when I saw the lineup. I know everyone else was saying, you know, you wanted to see the same lineup and go again and what have you. I'm half nervous now at certain players playing a high volume of intense games.
Yeah, but you'd be more nervous. Yeah, but you'd be more nervous if they weren't there.
And the problem is they might not. Yeah, but the problem is if you overplay them, they might not be there for a sustained period of time.
Yeah,
it's a very delicate balance that Klopp has to get right.
But my only argument against that is if Liverpool keep winning, all them players want to play, whether it's two every 2 days or every 4. That's just the way they are for me. 59 likes, 250 watching. More people will come in and start watching. But if you are watching, please hit the like button. If not, if you don't want to do it now, hit it on the way out. How does that sound? But do give it a bell there and hit the bell icon. I keep being told to hit. I hate saying that. Hit the bell. It just fucking doesn't feel right. But do hit that bell icon, and every time we go live, you will. You'll be notified in some sort of way. I don't know. Postman knocks on the fucking door or something. I don't know how it works. But look. Let's go and let's get into it. And Kev, you touched on something there, so I'll stay with you. Just want to show people the lineup for anyone that was living under a rock yesterday. Alisson, Trent, Matip, Van Dijk, Robertson, Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago midfield, Mane, Jota, Salah up front. Kev, you were nervous about that lineup yesterday. And I seen you on Twitter over the last couple of days posing the question, do we make changes? What do we do? And I answered it and said, same 11. Same 11 as Everton, because we've Milan in the week where we can rest. And then we look forward to 2 home games, Villa and Newcastle. Yeah. But you were nervous.
Of course I was. I mean, you've got Henderson and Thiago both nursing back off of long-term injuries. I think Thiago played that was his first 90 minutes that he played yesterday in God knows how long. Nervous, but look, that is our strongest 11. And it proved to be right as usual. Klopp fucking gets more right than wrong. But Wolves were a hard nail to get through. Their recent run of results of 4 clean sheets, only scoring in one. They were defensively sound. That didn't go away when Nuno left. I was just mainly worried about the fact that you've got a midfield 3 that are both nursing injuries and 3 games on the bounce. It's a lot to ask, especially with players that are coming back from injury, cold weather, shitty December time, and you've got a busy period coming up. I know you've got a break in Milan in the week, and that's all well and good, but you can only pick players from the Milan game that are in the UCL squad, so there won't be as many changes as what people like. You can't just play the kids. That option isn't there. The bench who were available yesterday will all probably play, but 1 or 2 others will probably have to start as well. So it's always going to be a nervous time of the season for everyone.
Just because of the volume of games.
Because of pure volume of games. I know it's only 2 extra games that we have to play over everyone else. Is the League Cup, and I think we have 1 extra league fixture in December compared to everyone else, just because of the way the derby fell on the 1st of December. Mm-hmm. But I just wish Klopp felt more confident in maybe starting Ox yesterday or starting Divock yesterday from the start, rather than feeling that he had to go with the same tried and trusted again.
But I was delighted with the starting 11. I'm gonna disagree with you, because I was delighted because, so good against Everton, come out there, and I was expecting Wolves to be a bit defensive and hit us on the break, and I just thought that midfield has a lovely balance of Fabinho, who just is a brilliant stopper in what he does. He has loads more, but his main thing for me is just how he stops attacks and picks things out and gets us going again. Thiago has an eye for a pass, and Henderson has been really good, both, I wouldn't even say defensively, just picking stuff up and looking forward and getting balls to Salah and getting us moving. I was delighted with that, and I thought we would have needed that yesterday. Seany, for you, that 11, were you happy, or were you with Kev a bit and going, I'd throw him maybe? It's a hard one, isn't it? Because when you see that 11, it's kind of hard to disagree with, because they're fucking deadly.
Look, you can't worry about rain. It's gonna rain. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna rain anyway. That's the way I see it. You're gonna get injury. So when your players are fit, you play them. You play them in games.
You know it's going to rain. You bring a brolly with you. So
but we have brollies. We have players coming back now in December. There's more players coming back.
I can feel a Kevin Seany row coming on.
No. I'm million percent.
You just want an excuse to go to the fucking fridge, you.
But the thing for me is, I find the balance in the team now is perfect at the moment, and that Klopp is big on rhythm. Klopp is huge on rhythm, and for the very same reason, he won't play a player that he's only training 1 day a week. If he's getting results with a team, they will know. They will have sports scientists literally coming up and saying, you've already heard him in press conferences when he said, well, the doctor told me Millie can get 15 and he told me this. They literally have all their players clocked, so they know exactly when who's on red. Now, you can't legislate for impact injuries or stuff like that happening, freak injuries. They happen. These things happen. These things can happen. Look at Chelsea yesterday. Zoom it as well off West Ham. Players are starting to fall now, but I feel that like we're just getting a squad together at the right time. Curtis will be back now any week. You have Naby, who's going to be an option now. Probably he's back in training, isn't he? And I think Bobby as well is expected back in training in the next couple of days. So although I'm with Kev, some of the play, like we're going to Milan on Tuesday, but the players aren't under any pressure. You think about last year, Jota is bursting his bollocks to get into the team in them games. So he's literally, if I don't, I need to pick it up here because I'm trying to get in ahead of Bobby. So it's not like that at the moment. So for me, I want consistency. I want them players. I want to see that midfield three as often as possible. I want to see Matip and Van Dijk start every game. That's what I do. Obviously, within reason. So, look, you can't. That's our strongest 11.
Yeah.
I think that's our strongest 11 at the moment. It has been this. Whatever you feel about Bobby, I think at the moment you couldn't justify leaving.
Right now, if you're picking an 11, that's
the best 11.
Yeah. So I think we should be playing our best players at every opportunity because, like you said, draws are losses in this league.
Mm-hmm. And there's an awful lot of there is an awful lot made of, rotation is definitely a thing. But if you watch Pep Guardiola during the week, right, he literally put on the poem out during the week and said, very difficult situation with injuries and COVID, and he fucking listed off a load of shit. And you seen the team he put out against Villa. Look at the team in the bench he put out yesterday at Watford. There wasn't a single fucking player missing. So I don't know, there's a lot made of this and a lot looked into it, and I kind of go, now I know where you're coming from, Kev. I do, because part of me goes, could you get away with Ox instead of Thiago? Say for argument's sake, because we're playing Villa next weekend. Could you do Origi instead of Jota? But you know what, Kev? If we do that and they don't perform, and there's parts of that team that just don't go right. And I'm not saying just from them two players. You're kind of looking there yesterday going, that's a missed opportunity against Chelsea. And I'd say if there was any doubt in Klopp's mind over his team, when he seen that Chelsea result, there was no doubt in his fucking mind. Archie Doolan says, I can't find that bell. There's a little bell icon somewhere there, Archie. No joking, Gavin Shawnee. Think it's time to splash out on a few Christmas lights for that tree behind him. That's the famous tree. You can't. Oh, hold on, Shawnee's going to flick a switch here, is he? Hold on, the big reveal. It's like the Christmas lights in town.
They're only smelly out.
There you go.
The big tree
has lights. You know what them lights are? They're them UV yolks to make it grow.
Yeah,
that's what they are.
The resin. That's the impact, the strength. That's the resin. I didn't want to turn them on.
In case the guard come over in a helicopter.
You should smell my sitting down now.
Yeah, the ESB flying over with heat maps and all. Looking, why is this house ultra red? What's up?
Keith, the start 11 for you. Are you in Shawnee's camp? Are you in Kev's camp? Where are you with this? Because Klopp just doesn't know better than all of us, in fairness, but there is parts he goes into games going, I'm not too sure about that, even if it is the perceived strongest 11.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that we have Milan during the week and the likes of Thiago and the likes of Henderson and the likes of Matip and the players that you might have thought might be getting to the red zone or might be the worries will get a rest then and you get a full week back. So I wasn't surprised he went with that team. I agree. I think it's the strongest team of what's available. I think Bobby sort of would come into the equation if he was available. I think Klopp would have him in the equation despite what a lot of fans might think. I just think, when you go into a team like Wolves, you want your best side. We saw how the game plays out, but the team, the fourth best defence in the league going into this game yesterday. They don't concede many goals. They play with a three centre backs, 2 wing backs, which essentially makes them a back five.
Yeah,
and yesterday Yeah, and yesterday they went with 2 holding players. Do you know what I mean? They bring the Donker in and leave Molyneaux out because they wanted that extra stability in front of that. So that was always going to be a tough one to break down. So you go in there, and my point is, you go in there with that midfield, because Seany said it, the balance now in that team, in that midfield, is just, it's what you want. It's what we've been striving for. We're starting to see the best of Thiago now. No coincidence that he's playing consistently now with Fabinho and Henderson. We're starting to see what that midfield can do and how it can, the attacks can get better. Now, like I said, you are never going to maybe blitz a team like Wolves out of it in their place yesterday. They're just not built for that. Some teams will batter them, but
I think if we'd have scored first half, it would have been 2 or 3.
Yeah, if we could have got through, and I think that's the way a lot of these teams are set up, Gav. They set up really hard to break down. Once you get through them, they're fucked. But the longer they stay in it, the harder it gets. You see fellas putting their bodies on the line, Connor Cody and all this, throwing their heads in front of everything, and fair play to them. But it is a hard nut to crack when you're doing that. So I think you need to have your strongest team in there. I think, Villa next week, for example, I think you might be able to maybe change 1 or 2 for that game, just based on how Villa are at the moment. A good team, don't get me wrong. But I just think Wolves, you had to have your hardest team because it was a defensive team away from home, and you just had to go and break them down. So I was delighted with the team, the lineup. I think it's as good as you can do. And the fact that we've a dead rubber essentially during the week means we can rest the players, we can give other lads a run.
The Reclaimer is demanding 200 likes ASAP. You're on 140.
By the way, that's not me fucking Christmas tree.
No, it's not. It's not what.
The Christmas tree is up there.
He's having to
I'm
prove
not that bloody miserable. Fucking the Grinch.
Build that man a statue, who I think it might be Red Steve. He just keeps changing his name. He's getting his worst stiff on Mac at this stage. But he said earlier, Seany's tree is back. Divock is doing bits. Coincidence? ? Probably not a coincidence. Seany's tree is back and we're doing stuff. But let's go on to the first half. And Seany, I'll come to you first. Not a lot happening. Jota has a header that he should score. He should score. It's a back post header, and he just headed back across the goal and he scores. He tries to be too cute for me, and I think where I was watching, I think Dion Dublin might have been on I think it was Dion Dublin, but he was like, he just hates Liverpool. But he was like,
I noticed that myself.
He was right in what he was saying with that header. He was like, he should score. He shouldn't be too cute.
And clever.
And I agree with him. You just head it back across the goal and you score. But and Liverpool had, Trent had one where he kind of snapped at it. There was 1 or 2. But Seany,
gets flashed across and
Robertson.
He's bleeding.
So he's a great tackle, doesn't he?
Yeah, but overall, Seany, like I'm gonna gloss over this first half fairly quickly. Overall, after 45 minutes, are you in any way worried, or do you think there's more gears for us to go through? Because I remember you saying to me on 30, we're clicking through the gears now, and we did look like we're putting the pressure on. But were you nervous at half time?
No, because I actually I didn't think we actually. Everyone was saying you win when you play bad, but winning when it's not going for you, I think, is what should have been said yesterday. Because I actually don't think that we played bad. I think they defended very well. I genuinely do. I thought there was times in the final third where we were off, and that can happen. The final ball was letting us down an awful lot. But the thing that's annoying me, Gav, people are turning around saying the amount of chances Liverpool conceded. I think 9 out of 10 of them chances yesterday were all offside.
Yeah.
And your man's having a shot at Alisson in goal and he's offside, and the commentators are up in arms going, and they're in again, but they're offside. Yeah. So they're literally.
I want to actually talk to you specifically about that in a bit.
So it kind of it's created this narrative that we're sort of easier to get at, but we're not. We just defend that high line, but we seem to be getting really back to our best in terms of what we're doing with that high line. And I was a bit disappointed with Wolves yesterday. I thought they were good defensively, but I just thought it was a bit this is why I wasn't scared. It was literally hitting hope for them. They were literally just
every time to Adama, wasn't it? Just a long ball to Adama.
At the end of it, he didn't play any football really. So, I wasn't worried because I said I did think that we had gears, and it did look like we were clicking as the game was going on. It was like, right, we're starting to get going there. It was similar to Arsenal, where it was like it just took a while to get going. It was flat, and then in the second half, he chances. Jota's miss.
Oh, where are you going? I asked you about the fourth.
Yeah, calm down, Sean. Calm down.
Sorry.
Stop inhaling that tree behind you.
So, no, I wasn't worried, Gav. I wasn't. I genuinely, because we've been playing at a while, and I was like, there's no way we don't score.
Yeah.
Because we've scored loads this season, so I was thinking we will get chances and we will score. And I feel we're a little bit like Bayern Munich at the moment. Like when you get one goal, you get two as a bonus. We just seem to score in bunches now, like a goal, boom, boom, boom. So I wasn't worried, to be honest with you. Now, if you ask me at 85,
different answer.
Yeah, I'm in the house yesterday and I was like, there's still time. And then I got to 90, 91. I was like, and then when I hit 93, I was like, this. And I'm trying to set up the after the post match show, and the Unfiltered is there, and he's fucking having a breakdown. I'm like, how is he going to keep quiet with this? And I was like, and I'm going to have to talk about a 0-0 fucking draw. But Keith,
at 90 minutes, Gav, I was thinking of how can I get out of this show tonight. I was going to text it and say, I can't make it. I'm going to get a hair transplant. I was thinking of anything just to get out of this.
But Keith, coming to you, I know where Seany's saying he's not worried, right? Because when I seen us beat Southampton 4-0, forget everything, right?
Yeah.
No point. But Southampton, for me, had some chances because we do give teams the opportunity to get at us because of the way we're playing and how committed we are to attacking, especially the fullbacks, right? And I looked at that game yesterday and I thought to myself, nervous before it, saying Wang is a very good, intelligent footballer. Picks up good space.
Oh, he was good yesterday, actually.
Yeah, he's
Traore has pace to burn, and if he gets one touch, if he gets a second touch on a ball, you're in fucking serious trouble because he's usually turned and running at you. And Jimenez can hold it up.
Tackle.
Yeah, a second touch is usually getting the ball back. Fucking it's hitting the ball boy.
Off the ball boy. Yeah.
But Raul Jimenez holds the ball up well. He can finish. He's a good footballer, right? But I wasn't in any way concerned about them because I actually thought they were a bit of a disgrace yesterday, right? A disgrace probably a bit of a fucking strong word, but I just thought...
All right, Kane, relax.
You're at home. Yeah. You're at home, right? Yeah, you're at home. I understand you're playing Liverpool, but they weren't interested. Their first meaningful shot was on 44 minutes, I think, was their left back. It was really good. Nuri, I think.
Nuri was
and it's miles off. It's miles away. And I thought to myself, they're not going to improve this second half because we're running the legs off them. They're chasing. At half time, are you thinking, Keith, just get one, and they'll have to do something, and then we'll be good to go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I get what you're saying. Wolves, they had a game plan, and it wasn't much of a game plan. It was just hoof the ball out to Traore and hope for the best. I'm of the opinion of the same when we won the league that year. That I'm always confident. Do you know what I mean? Last season was an anomaly, and before the injuries even struck, you know what I mean? We got thumped by Villa and things like that. This feels like the Liverpool from a couple of years ago. Do you know what I mean? They're putting teams to the sword now, and while we didn't hit 4 or 5 or even 2, I just always felt there was a goal coming. I always felt that there was a goal in it for us, even up to the very end. And we have to be. You're going to come on to it about the linesman and all that, give the flagging when chances are going in. We knew the way we're playing now, it's risk versus reward. The high line is there. The fullbacks are pushing up. We're going to give away chances, but we're so good at holding that line that we're confident that if they get through once or twice, we've got the weapons to punish them at the other end. Now, the reality is their game plan was just hoof it to Traore. And you saw him, he was a shitty heavyweight boxer that gets gassed after a few rounds. Derek Chisora or Dillian White are one of these characters. Do you know what I mean? Like he's looks the part, right? The extra small jersey on him and the bleeding baby oil on his arms and all that. He doesn't look like a footballer, but I think he flatters to deceive an awful lot, and I think a lot of people get fooled by him. He's no end product. This fella, he's just pace and power and run. And I think if you can nullify him, and I think we sort of did, he got a few runs at us, but he didn't do anything. Do you know what I mean? He didn't really create too much. So I was happy with how we were managing them. And I didn't feel they were going to get a goal against us. And I just felt there was one coming for us. Now, obviously, the later it goes, don't think that. But I didn't think they were going to do anything, even with this long ball to Traore all day. Because I felt Thiago was having loads of little nibbles at him throughout the game. And little chops at him, little chops all the time. And that slows him. He was getting frustrated. He was slapping the ground. He was doing all this. Fabinho was taking a lump at him. Robbo taking a lump at him. And that's, you know, when you do that with these fellas, they get frustrated, and he doesn't have the intelligence to get around that, you know what I mean? And I think he lost his head, and I think he just petered out of the game.
Yeah, like, Kev, we know how defensive Wolves were. We know how, you know, defensively they're set up, and I think Nuno was given a lot of credit on one hand for what he done at Wolves defensively, but kind of that's what probably lost him his job at Wolves, because he felt he wasn't attacking enough and getting enough wins out of it. But they're trying to, apparently under this manager, is play a lot more from the back, be a lot more attacking, but be more defensively sound. I don't know how the fuck he's going to do that, but that's the word coming out of him, right? But just from the Liverpool point of view, what did you feel like at half time? Did you think a bit more? I didn't even think it was more creativity. I just thought it was a bit more patience. I thought we were rushing ourselves a little bit, and it was a bit sloppy. Was that were you like that at half time, or were you just like same, keep going because it'll come?
Because I was only listening to it, and the commentators were going on about the size tackle on the line, that was a really good chance. If Mo could have got the other side of him, that's one. Other than that, they were all saying it was a dead rubber. It sounded like a dead rubber, even in the commentary. The only thing that Wolves, apart from the tactics that they set up with, is we're going to do everything possible not to get beat and try and nick something, was the shithousery around the time wasting. That started off with the Cody injury that wasn't an injury, because if he'd done that injury, what he laid on that he thought he did, he'd have been stretchered off, because it looked, even when I watched it back later on, he went down as if it was his Achilles that was gone.
Yeah.
And he was grabbing his foot, rolling around, screaming and bawling.
He used to start a dive to try and get a penalty at Anfield 2 seasons ago.
He's a proper shithouse, and that's grand. If you're a Wolves fan and that's your game plan, that's good for you. You know, you'll win nothing out of it, but you know, happy days. But that carried on then for the rest of the half. The slightest touch, down, physio on, kill the game again. And that's, in fairness, from a Wolves point of view, that's how you set up against us. Set up against us to frustrate us and try and stop us playing, break the play up. And they were very good at it. But what Keith was saying about Adama was dead on. I mean, Adama, people talk about Adama for Liverpool, and he'd be a great super sub and what have you.
I'd hate him.
Adama
do my fucking head in, he would.
He can't play football. He can't play football.
He would genuinely be the right wing version of Luis Garcia, who scored huge goals for Liverpool. Don't get me wrong.
No, he wouldn't, because Garcia scored goals.
No, but Lewis. No, but what I mean is on a frustration level, Garcia scored huge goals, but he was so frustrating to watch play for Liverpool. Like, it was. He's probably the most frustrating player I've ever seen play for Liverpool.
There was an interview done with what's his name? Enrique, the fullback for us.
Yeah.
That went to Newcastle, and he talked about Adama.
Came from Newcastle.
Yeah, came from Newcastle. But he talked about Adama as he's too big. His body is just too big for a footballer. He's a walking injury waiting to happen. And he's got one trick, and he will go past fullbacks for fun. And he'll chip it into Raul Jimenez, and Raul Jimenez will get 4 or 5 goals a season off the back of that. That's it. That's his trick. That's all he can do. He's very good at it if he's given space, but we were very clever yesterday in little fouls, not picking up bookings. And as long as we weren't picking up bookings, that was fine. The problem is if you pick up an early couple of yellows, a yellow on Thiago and a yellow on Robbo, then Traore becomes a dangerous player. But for us at half-time, I just thought more of the same. Keep doing what you're doing. You're getting chances. And we were getting chances, half chances, and what have you. Just like you said, slow it down, get the right chance, and it will come. But then when we get into the second half and you see some of the chances that we didn't convert, you're just thinking to yourself, the first thought that comes into your head, we were always going to fucking fire a blank at some point. Please don't let it be today. Yeah. Not against this lot. Not against this. Because all that would do then is there's your blueprint to play Liverpool for the rest of the season.
Oh yeah,
and that's what we get for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
but we needed to get the 3 points more than anything to show that, look, if you want to come at us like Southampton, and Southampton got chances because Southampton took risks. They gave up chances like they were Santa, but they got chances because they gambled. Wolves didn't gamble, and if they'd have got a point out of that, it would have been an absolute travesty. and a blueprint for the rest of the Premier League for playing us, and not just Premier League, for Europe as well.
But do you know what? It's a massive win for Liverpool. But when you see teams trying to come out and play us, there's not many that do that, but they get hurt. There's teams that will take chances like Southampton 4-0. There's teams that come out and have a little go and think they're in it. Everton 4-1. But then you see a team that go ultra defensive there yesterday and they still get beaten. And the rest of the league are looking going, it's not a blueprint. Like you say, Kev, that blueprint is no longer there. Because you have to actually just defend for 90 minutes and do nothing going forward. Nothing. In order to try to get anything. And it still doesn't work. Keith, on 60 minutes, Jota misses a chance. And I genuinely had to check to see if this was fucking had to happen. I was like, surely there's something wrong with this fucking screen that ball hasn't gone in the net. A lot of people saying though that they felt it would have been disallowed if it had went in. What do you think? One, because they reckon they might have done Jota for, I think, a push on the defender.
No, I didn't see anything.
So,
I don't think so. I mean, I think
last season maybe.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. Last season, the slightest touch was getting pulled back. I think they've changed it now that, unless there's enough force, I didn't even say a push, to be honest. Like, I think it was just maybe a coming together. But, I think Jota was lively yesterday, but he didn't have his best game. There's no excuse in not scoring there. I think he's usually a calm finisher, and he does the opposite of calm. He gets in, could try and strike it early when the open goal, carries it in, two lads on the line, you still should be able to slot it in and find the space. And he just blasts it straight into Cody. Now, look, Cody does well. He gets back on the line. The two of them are on the line. But I couldn't believe he missed it because he's not a panicking. He doesn't usually panic. He's a killer. He's a dead eye when he gets in there. And it was unlike him. I don't know if the Wolves thing sort of affected him, going back to Molyneaux in front of crowd for the first time.
No, he's back there. He scored there.
Has he?
For Liverpool.
Did he? Yeah, but was that fans?
I don't know, but he scored there.
Yeah, no, I thought he said
that. Crazy golf it's like in crazy golf when you go for the trick shot to get the good set up in the hole nicely. Like he tries to put it through a gap only the size of the ball to go through. Like that's.
I think he's.
It's one of them.
I think he's in his mind. He's thinking, if I go to the side, they're gonna both kind of nearly part here and jump to the side when I go to strike this, hoping to block it, and I'm just gonna put it down the middle. But like when you see it from behind the goal, you're like, just pass it in there, mate. There's fucking loads of room.
There's no excuse.
Like there's no excuse, but in his mind, he's probably thinking, if I blast this and it hits them, it's still gonna go in.
Bouncing, yeah, true.
Literally, it hits Cody right in his car. Like he takes the wind out and he's lying down in the goal after. Like, you know what I mean? It's just one of them. It was uncharacteristic of Jota, to be honest with you. You look at the one last week, he roofs it, but it was just. That's when I started to panic.
Yeah, that's when I was like, no, hold on, this is ridiculous now. Like, I know there's lads on the line, but like, hit it to either corner or up high in the air. If you blast it 2 foot higher, it's going in because they can't get their body in the shape to do it. But I was starting to panic there, I have to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was looking at flights to Istanbul at that stage.
Definitely trying to get out of this show tomorrow night after that messing. But the next thing up, and Seany, I'll come to you. He takes Henderson off, puts Origi on. Now, I thought Henderson was quite poor yesterday. I thought he was.
Yeah, he was.
He was terrible,
just watching him, I just thought he was. There wasn't enough patience in his game for me. He was trying things for me that I just thought, don't just keep playing. And he was just a little bit off it, and that happens. Fine. But I thought, Henderson might come off. But then when I seen Origi coming on, I was like, oh, is he going 4-4-2 here?
That's one thing that really stood out to me yesterday is like Klopp went into his box of tricks yesterday. There was loads of tactical changes throughout the game without changing personnel. You could see he changed the setup completely in the second half because Henderson is literally playing right wing and Trent is further up and Salah slightly inside. So he was overloading on their right hand side.
Yeah,
and it was weird. It was real. But I think, Gav, we talk about Klopp's evolution. It's normally Fabinho sitting and then you'd have two either side. But now with Thiago, you can the boys kind of play as a double pivot. They just kind of hold there, and Henderson has the license to roam there. So when you seen in the second half he made that change, it was a bit mad. And then I said in the group when he's whipping Henderson off, and he brings Origi on for Hendo, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's first stretch.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? And then you just see Jota kind of drops into like a 10 role, and the two boys, because they're not actually causing us any problem. They're not breaking through our midfield. They're just lumping the ball down the channel. So the boys are fine to cover there. So Klopp, he did like dive into his box of tricks yesterday, and it was good to see, because that's one thing I kind of level at Klopp, is that sometimes he can be reluctant to change it because they just trust the system too much. Like they trust the system to break through. But I agree with you. I think it was Hendo's poorest game for a while. And look, I think he set himself a high standard because he's been so good in some games this year, and then he's been bad as well in other times. But there's no need to go over the top. He wasn't on it. Like you said, I felt he was rushing some of his passes, and some of his decision making was poor. But look, the sub, like Origi, I'm not gonna change my mind just because he scored yesterday. Like I get filled with dread when Origi comes on, and because I genuinely do. The attacks just always break down when he's on the pitch, especially when he's playing off the left. And
is it the type of game though, Seany? I was thinking about this today, and I'll tell you why, right? Because if I see Origi starting a game in a League Cup game, I go Grant. If I see Origi starting a game in a league game, I'm dreading it, right? And I'm with you. He scored a good goal. He scored brilliant goals for Liverpool. Big, huge goals. Never take that away from him. But I'm like you. You know, if I see Origi starting against Aston Villa next week, I'm going, for fuck's sake. I am. That's the truth, right? Not because he's a bad player. I just think stuff breaks down through him, right? The way our front three play is so clinical, so it's so, there's just so much movement and touch and everything about it. You know, so fluid, as they would say, that I worry. But when I see the type of game, i.e., they're penned in, you know. You're not looking for him to run channels. You're literally putting him in there as a body, and something will fall to him, and he is a good finisher. I think that's where it suits him most, Johnny, and that's why the substitute role is probably the best. And don't get me wrong, if you're 4-0 up with 20 to go, you put him on to rest players. But in that sort of game, Johnny, like I'll put it this way: if we're playing Chelsea on the 2nd of January and it's 1-1. Right, and Chelsea are down to 10 men, and they're still showing a bit of threat, and or not even down to 10 men. It's 11 against 11. I'm never putting Origi on the pitch, never. But if Chelsea are down to 10 or we're chasing something, I'm probably throwing him on because he's a good finisher and he just has to hang around the box.
Yeah, no, like to give Origi his flowers. Like I don't mean to just blame piss on his parade. I actually thought he looked really good when he came on. He looked sharp. His touch was good, and he was turning inside, and he was using the ball well. He looked good. He looked genuinely good, and he's there. You know what I mean? He's a handful. He's different to what we have. He is, in fairness, but it's just it's mental. Like this, it's mad. Like how is it always him? It's mad. Like I think we spoke about it yesterday in the group. Like. I think
one person in particular spoke about it and put it perfectly. I'll find the message.
I think his persona lends to these moments, sort of, because
100%.
It could be the first minute or the 89th minute. I just feel like he's always in the same frame of mind when he goes to and go. Like,
yeah. It's like the Matrix. Like, if everything's going to shite around him or it's helter-skelter, in Divock's head, still laid back. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't fluster.
Who was it last year we played at home and he's clean through one-on-one and he tried
Burnley.
It's a ridiculous finish. Like, it's an absolutely outrageous bit of technique. Yeah. And
it's a Burnley or Brighton, one or the other.
I think it's Burnley. And it comes off underneath the bar. And you're like going, the bleeding audacity to him to do that. Like, a lot of strikers would just snatch at that, but it makes no odds to him. Like, that game was 0-0. He didn't turn around going, I'm just going to get 1-0 up here. He was like, nah, I'm going to wrap this into the top corner. He doesn't play with any urgency in this game, and I think that's where he's different to where that's probably this is what makes him. This is the enigma with him.
But is that why Klopp's sending him on, because he is so laid back? Where
Klopp literally said after the game, just be Divock.
Yeah, because is that him where he just knows if it drops to him, he doesn't give a fuck. He'll just score. Because, well, I'll tell you who said it yesterday. Brenzy said it to us yesterday, right? And I'm going to paraphrase a bit, but Brenzy basically said, listen, this fella just... football is secondary to him in his life. He said, look, he scores against Everton, right, to win a game at Anfield in the 96th minute and tries to run the ball back to the halfway line. And Brenzy is convinced that he wasn't paying attention on the bench and thought he'd only made it 1-1, right? He said he scores against Newcastle, doesn't give a fuck, right? He said he scores 2 against Barca, just runs off, goal. He said, and then he scores in the European Cup final. He said, and he celebrates like he scored the 7th against St. Pat's in a pre-season friendly. So is it just is it that, Shawnee? Is it just
it is like,
it's just
when,
there's no emotion in him. He's just like, we call Jota ice cold, but he's just like away with the bleeding fair. He's just give us a chance to score.
Just like he's like Father Todd yourself, Father Ted. He just went fine. Like he just floats, and like you said there about the derby goal where it comes off the bar. Yeah. Like, I watched the compilation after Paulie said that, and he picks the ball up out of the net.
Someone has to push it out of his hands to say, where are you going? You know
I think Rachel knocks out his hands saying,
if I run back the halfway line here, Everton might get a chance of an equaliser. It's only fair.
That's because he's probably like, he knows his minutes are limited. Like, and look, do you know what annoys me a bit? And I actually think, I'm not going to say it's sad, but I think if Divock had a bit of fucking fire in his belly, he'd be playing Champions League football for someone else scoring goals every week, because I do believe there's a player in there. I don't think he has the drive. It's like
he enjoys life more than football, and that's not to say he's not a brilliant professional, but he seems to be like, but the boy living a great life.
Klopp turns around and said he's literally one of his favourite players he's ever had to manage, because he's completely self-aware of his position in the squad, and he never squabbles. He works hard every day. He said he doesn't come around. He said he does work hard every day. He does put it in, and he literally turned around and he said, I know if I call on him, he's gonna be there and he's gonna be fit. Like, he's not like other strikers who like, oh yeah, I'm not getting the game. If he calls on me, do you know what, my hammy's at me, I'm not playing. Like I said, I was doing that last year for Arteta. So look, I'd still sell him in January. That's the God honest truth. And I don't mean to be like a party poo, but I love him. I'll forever love him for what he done for this club. Honestly, I genuinely will. He's given me some of my greatest moments in recent history supporting Liverpool. He always carried himself well. Like you said, he scores the winner. He scores the sealer in a Champions League final and jogs off into the corner.
Yeah. Is he the coldest of all the cold heroes?
He's right up there.
Talks now in the book saying you'd be rooming with Origi on international duty, and he'd literally be leaving 20 grand watches on the bedside cabinet.
Forgetting his phone.
He'd be leaving and he'd be like, Divock, is that your watch? Oh yeah. Like he said, he just floats. And to be honest with you, it's clutch. And I just laughed yesterday when it was him again, and it was just like the boy is dragging it. It's brilliant. Like, it's great. He's great. I love him.
He's great for the squad. He's fantastic for the squad, because at the end of the day, like Klopp was saying, or and Shawnee was dead right what he was saying is he's a brilliant finisher. If you put him in the spot, he'll score your goals, and he's happy. He's happy enough playing 10, 15 games in a season.
But that's part of his personality. He seems to be like somebody says there, 50 grand a week, go to train and play a few minutes for Liverpool. It's a great life. Why change it? Jonathan says that. Start Origi every game to wind up Gav. That's Red Steve. I think he's changed his name again, for fuck's sake. He said the smile on his face after, I think he's starting to enjoy football instead of just chasing butterflies. Like, it's just him, Kev. It's just...
I know, but the scary thing is, I can see why the club put a value of 20 million on him, because he's a 20 million striker all day, every day. I can't understand why he doesn't want to be a striker who plays 38 games and be a regular for Belgium and go to a World Cup and play a big part.
How good he is as well, Kev, because look at the wealth of talent Belgium have, and he was picked even when he wasn't getting games at Liverpool. He was a regular in the squad.
He was, I mean, up front for Belgium, you have Lukaku, and for me, after that, it's Mertens isn't a 9. Mertens plays a 10.
Batshuayi and Benteke were there.
Yeah, Batshuayi, Benteke, and that's pretty much it. Now, Benteke or Origi is better than all of them. He's not better than Mertens, but he's not the same type of striker as Mertens. My frustration with Origi is he doesn't realise that he's a 6'2", 14-stone man mountain who is capable of bullying centre halves and creating chances on his own and taking goals.
And he's quick as well.
And he drives me fucking batty.
He is. He's extremely frustrating because
he's brilliant on the ball.
Origi was the young fella who used to show up to PE in his uniform. Like, just doesn't give a shit.
And take the piss out of you.
Yeah, and just run amok, playing in a pair of base wallabies, size 7 base wallabies, doing step overs and all to beat the band in a school uniform. He just floats. I love him as a person. He's just another personality in this squad. It's like Matip. Matip is a bit of a... I look at Matip going, he's a bit mad. Like, Matip's like, you know.
The only thing is that to get him in the perfect scenario, right? To get him in the perfect scenario, you would need Liverpool to be struggling most weeks for a goal late on, and we don't want that. And you don't usually have that. It probably happens once 4 or 5 times a season. Liverpool usually won a game, or you know where it's going, and it's just probably not enough. But for him, it probably is. Jono says Divock 9 games, 4 goals, 1 assist this season. He's a 5th choice forward. Fair play to him because I've sold him about 8 times.
But nobody wants him to leave. This is the thing. Nobody wants him to leave because he's capable of doing stuff like that. But
you don't want him in the front three to start.
Exactly. For the sake of his career, just stand back a bit. I want him to have a career. I don't want him to reach 30 and say, oh shit, I was a bit part player. Maybe I could have been more, because he's capable. He's so capable.
He's a cult hero now, and I think he's better than that.
Yeah.
Well, Keats asked there, is he the most cult of cult heroes? I think he's fast approaching it.
I think he is. I can't think of anyone. David Fairclough is the one that gets mentioned all the time.
Lewis Garcia,
he's done everything
Lewis
that
Garcia
Fairclough
is a
has
big
done.
cult hero.
Jimmy Traore, Vladimir Smith.
I think his place in the squad is maybe overlooked as well, because I remember it's quite similar to the Kante thing with the World Cup. Even though it was an empty stadium, I remember players going out their way to make sure Divock got his moment and his pictures with the title, and you could see the lads making a big deal of it, because he does seem to be like an understated sort of fella. So maybe he felt, I don't want to be in the middle.
Probably had to remind him.
I think cult heroes can be something that's like Solskjaer, for instance. Like, he's a cult hero. He wasn't a great player. He scored loads of goals, but he wasn't a world beater. I actually think Origi has more ability than to be just labelled a cult hero. I think if he had a little bit of pep in his step, and he had it, I'm not going to say he's unambitious, because these fellas are professional footballers. They set up their whole life to become athletes and do that. You cannot say that about them, but I just think he'd be a brilliant player if he played every week, honestly. And I think that's why the club,
I don't know if he would.
So high, because like Klopp said in the start of the season, who clubs coming in 8, 9, 10, 12 million for Origi? Who am I going to buy to put in ahead of, instead of him?
That's a fair point, but I think clubs are backing off the 20 million, or probably not even deciding against the bid, because they're looking, going, impact-wise, in certain situations, he's great. But if I have to ask them to do it every week, we haven't really seen the evidence of that at Liverpool. Bar a spell when Klopp comes in and he's actually prepared to Sturridge. I was
gutted when he missed the Europa League final. But
that's the thing. I'd say clubs are looking, going, there's great evidence of he can score big goals. He scores with his head, left foot, right foot. He runs, he gets in behind. He's a good finisher. But we haven't seen him. I'll put it this way: if Divock Origi, because of an injury, plays 20 league games for Liverpool, right, starts because of injury and gets 10 league goals, 12 league goals, someone will go, yeah, I'm taking a punt on him, because he's played 20 games. He started 20. He's got 10, 12 goals. It's a really good record. Right? Now, having said that, Liverpool are probably going, I'm not selling him. He's fucking has a really good record. But there's more of a sample size of a consistent run in the team to take your bet on. You know, the sort of way, because you like when he's linked to the likes of Newcastle, Wolves, he's always linked to them when they're struggling for goals. And the person that Wolves and Newcastle look and go, we're struggling for goals, but where's the sample to show me that when he has to get, where's he got a big massive run?
How long, Gav? He scores every time he plays in the Carabao.
Yeah.
I know that, but that's
why you're paying 20 million. It's a gamble price. 20 million in this day and age for a 25-year-old international striker who's coming from a side who's won everything.
Is he only
He
24?
scored important goals.
Only 24. Yeah, he's only 24 or 25. He's not that old. Remember, he was really young when he came to us.
Yeah, 2014 World Cup. He was on the, he's about 25, yeah, 26.
26.
There was a comment up there earlier on that I think Paul Smith put up. I hope we don't give Divock another contract. Paul, here's the thing. He's fifth choice striker. He doesn't bitch and moan. He doesn't create an atmosphere in the squad. The squad love him. Go and find me another person who's going to come in and do what he can do and do that. Now, I get what you're saying, but you have to appreciate that it's a 24, 25-man squad and it's a 24, 25-man game, not 11. And you have to have all sorts in your squad to be able to go out and compete and win stuff. Having squad members who know they're not going to play, Kostas Tsimikas is a prime example, Nico Williams, prime example, who aren't going to play, but who can come in and do a job for you when you need them, they're fucking priceless. They're a dime a dozen. They're so rare. You know, and especially for a striker, because strikers have egos, and they need egos that need massaging. And if you've got a striker who doesn't play in 10, and then you turn around and say, right, you're starting, and we need to win this game, and you're the main man, you know what I mean? They don't come around that often. Not for the price that we'd be looking to spend. So, careful what you wish for.
Wolves FI says, Liverpool fans hit the like button, even Wolves fans. It's great to see a Wolves fan in, by the way, and it seems to be having great chat with people there in the chat as well. So fair play to you for joining us. Let me see. Thiago's hair would not take 20 million. No way in hell.
Not in January. You couldn't sell him in January. You can't sell him in January.
Someone else said 8 million Galatasaray offered, which was a piss take. Derek Groom says we got 20 odd million for Brewster and he'd never even played a league game for us, which is very true, but that was a fucking insane deal. And I think we have a fucking sell-on clause and everything on that. So when they sell him for 6, we're getting $1 million of it. We're not buying it back.
People think you just tune in on a Saturday, Sunday, or whatever, we play our game and that's it. Like, football is it's a 6-day-a-week business. Like, them boys go in training, he has his place in the squad. So that's what we don't see. You know, we just see the 90 minutes and if he doesn't play, our sight, our mind. But that doesn't mean he's not contributing in any way. If you're talking about like the Sturridge, that's what Klopp said about Sturridge. What I loved about Sturridge is how aware he was when we were doing setups for opposition teams and you were doing 11v11 in opposition team. He said Sturridge was perfect at replicating the way other teams would play. And he says, and he was vital into the way we played the game setting up. So they all have roles. Like, you know what I mean? Now, I said, I'd sell Origi in January, not a bother, if I knew we were going to go out and buy somebody of a Jota ilk who's going to go in there and push the 2 wide players.
But I've said this, our next forward signing has to be someone that you're looking at in 2 or 3 years' time is actually the main man for us.
Would you do this straight swap Adama Traore?
No,
not a
chance.
Not a
fucking hope.
Take that dirty fucking word out.
You be pulling your fucking hair out of Adama Traore. You know what I mean? No, he just doesn't suit what we do. Unless we're willing to go and play on the break, he doesn't suit what we do. Simple.
Well, his price seems to have plummeted as well. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I just
when's the contract up?
23, I think.
Yeah,
so I think he's in the last 18 of his contract.
If you turn around and said Pedro Neto, then different argument. If you turn around and said Pedro Neto and see how he finishes the season when he's back from injury, then he's one you take a gamble on. Pedro Goncalves at Sporting Lisbon, absolutely I'd take a gamble on him. But no way, not a hope in hell. There is no hope in hell.
We'll swap him for Ollie Watkins.
Emma Kavanagh, I wouldn't. Emma Kavanagh, he's obviously he's worked this out. Divock has 2 goals in 38 minutes of Premier League football. Kane has 1 goal in 1,008 minutes. £100 million, please, is what he wants come January, which is fucking sound. I just vision Emma Kavanagh sitting there, the little fucking dog or whatever it is from that film. But it is the top of the dog's head going £100 million.
It is funny, but when you look at it and you take it all away, and if you look at a CV, like, he scored important goals. He scored iconic goals. He's 26 years old. He's playing in the bleeding, one of the best teams in the world. Let's be honest. It does toss a coin between ourselves and City and Chelsea at the moment in the league. And the reality is, you could say that about Europe as a whole. There's not many better teams than us in Europe at the moment. And he's played as an iconic role in that. And, you know, to say that you'd struggle to get 20 million from it doesn't make any sense. And there's Harry Kane's, 29? 1 goal. The attitude maybe stinks a bit, you know, and there should be teams baiting down our door to get Divock Origi for 20 million.
West Ham should be all over.
Because a player, the thing I have with Origi, right, is I think he's an excellent substitute to bring on, because as I said earlier, I think when a game is held at Skelter, you're thrown on Divock, and he's just so calm that he, you know, it happens in slow motion for him, whereas other people panic and snatch at things. Everything seems to slow down with Divock, and he can keep his cool. When he starts for Liverpool, that laid-back attitude comes across as not trying, because the way Liverpool are playing, it's high intensity, it's moving, it's popping off, it's doing this and it's doing that. And he maybe doesn't look like he's pulling his weight, even though he could be doing well. He's just not Mane, he's not Salah, he's not Jota, he's not Bobby. But if you put him in the Wolves team, no disrespect to Wolves, if you put him in a West Ham, if you put him in nearly any other Premier League team where they're not playing with that intensity, and they're playing with a 6'2", 6'3" centre forward who's quick, who, you know, will get a couple of chances, and they don't mind if he misses a chance, or if he doesn't score every couple of games. I think they'd have a field day. If he's playing regular in a Premier League team or a European team, he's banging 15 goals easy a season. Yeah. And I can't believe teams are baiting down our door to get him.
Scouse P says Divock is on 60 grand a week. His last contract was 15 million over 5 years. Quite clearly, he's enough money for the rest of his life. The way he must see it, it's about the team.
I think a big part of it is, like, if he was rocking the boat to get out, he would have been sold.
Yeah,
I don't think he is.
Well, Shaqiri did that.
Yeah,
and they facilitated the move for him, and he's sat on the bench now where he is.
Yeah.
So
there you go. We've hit 200 likes. Reclaimer. We have to tell Reclaimer because he was demanding it earlier. Just a few bits before we move on, and I want to ask you a couple of questions. A little social media post from Andy Robertson says, "Wow, unreal feeling. Was a scrap, but that's why we always fight to the end. P.S. I'll take my grandkids to visit the Divock Origi statue one day. What a man!
They love him.
The squad love him.
They absolutely do.
To a man, that squad is so tight.
They do. Leading the way in Premier League with 9 assists is Mo Salah, and that's a 28 goal involvement in all competitions this season. He is a fucking joke. He is. Yeah. He's a joke. And just like Jurgen said, here's another one for you. When you need an iconic goal, just be Divock. So there you go. I want to try to
just touch on one thing, Gav.
Of course you can.
The big thing for me yesterday was, and I was out last night, right? And I just
out.
And I was in the toilet. I had a little look at my phone, and I seen Mo Salah.
I was going to say something else there.
I had a little look at my phone, and I seen Mo Salah's Instagram post. And I swear to God, I was going to 2-foot the next person that come in the toilet. I was raring to go after it. He turned around and said, "It's in our hands.
Yeah.
It's in our hands." The fella is a giant. He's a fucking giant. He wants it all. And I read that now. Honestly, I was out on
for him, wouldn't you?
That's the second time now he's done that.
You're like going, "You all right?" It's like, "Yeah, boy." He goes, "Looks like you're going to lump the head off someone." And I goes, "Oh, you want to see Mo Salah's post on Instagram?" You're like, "You're bleed mad."
Yeah, but you are mad. Like, people need to understand. Like, Shawnee's very I wouldn't say relaxed on this show or shows that we do, but when you're in Shawnee's company, either watching a game or at a game, he gets so involved in it and like genuinely gets so affected after. You know, like when we were in Liverpool, Shawnee was like if that fucking goal hadn't hit Mane and went in, and we'd have been 3-0 up against Brighton, we wouldn't have lost that game. And I was like, Shawnee, I just want to go for a fucking point. And he was like, "Yeah, but Gav, like all the way up the road." And I was like, "Will you please calm down?" Shawnee's better half was with us, and the quote of the weekend was, and it's still going. She just turned to me and she went, "This is my life." And I went, "Yeah, fair enough." You know what I mean? Because he just gets
a duty
so
free
involved.
Into the overhead bin and the plane, and Shawnee's still going on about, "Can't believe it hit his hand."
Yeah, and that's why I believe Shawnee when he says I was in the toilet, read an Instagram post and was like, came out of the toilet like fucking something out of bleeding 300.
It's now half measures, honestly. The DJ could have put on Rocky, It's a Born and Heart, and I would have fought anyone. I swear to God, I was I was buzzing at it, but I feel like, remember
Well,
last year?
if you'd have seen the Mo Salah Pepsi advert, that would have been you game over.
Oh, it was brilliant. I love it. It's unreal. But listen, like
the Rocky thing with the bike at the end is dynamite.
The big thing now at the moment is like they're going on about his contract, and I don't want to talk about it because I think it's ridiculous that we even have to have these conversations there. Like, it should have been fucking done every day last week. Nothing we can do about that. But I will say one thing, like Mo last year put up a tweet when we're on our bollocks.
Yeah.
Right? And there was loads of stuff being levelled at him. How he was uninterested and he was selfish and this, that. And he literally turned around and goes, well, I'm going to fight to the end and we'll do it. And we did do it. And he dragged us. Don't get me wrong. He fucking dragged us by the bollocks over the line last year. He did. He scored massive goals and massive moments. Like,
because he's the best player in the world.
They all lump it on Alisson and Nat Phillips and Reece Williams. And they done that job. But Mo was the catalyst. And when he said that last night, I said, we're going to win the fucking league. Genuinely, I said, we're going to win the league because he told me. He's saying it. It's in our hands. And you can see when he celebrates, look at him now when we score, he's right in it. He loves the fucking club. He loves it. That should never be questioned, no matter what happens now in the next 2 years. He's a giant. And I got stick for saying this in the summer. He's the best player we've ever had. Ever.
Well, I was listening. Do you know what? It's getting to that stage. Keane Ryan had a super chat in earlier. I haven't missed your super chats. I've kept them because they're on different subjects, and I'm going to throw them in towards the end here. He says, all right, lads, have you seen Salah's quotes about the new contract saying he wants to stay, but depends on management? What do you think happens with the contract? He's talking about management on his side and the club side, in my opinion. And I think I believe it'll still get done because genuinely, I said this a while ago, this would be the bleeding hill they die on. FSG, genuinely, like, I'm very, you know me, if it's good, I'll tell you, if it's bad, I'll tell you, and I very rarely, I'm just kind of, they're the owners, so I comment on things as they go, but genuinely, I think that could be the hill they die on if they don't go near that Keane. That's being honest with you. Keith.
Yes.
We'll talk about the goal in a minute, because we have to get out of here at some stage, but did you think that chance for Mane was the last chance, 87-ish? Good save.
No.
Did you think that was the last one?
No, I just genuinely always think we will create chances late in games. It's just that I think the way we play, you know, we don't tend to fizzle out too much. Do you know what I mean? We always get a couple of chances right at the death. We're just putting teams under pressure. The Mane chance at the end, it's a good save.
It is.
Jose Sa, it's a good save. Mane, I don't know. We could be a bit more calm with that one. You know, he trashes at it with the right foot, and if it goes in, it's taking the roof off the net. You know what I mean?
He opens his body and puts it on the instep. It scores from.
Yeah, he trashes at it, you know, and he slashes at it a bit. And look, it's a good save, but I just thought we're going to get another chance here. We're going to get more chances. We touched on it briefly earlier with their antics. Their time wasting was outrageous. Like Raul Jimenez went off the pitch, hit the bleeding Harden, and then came on and went down. The young fella ate Nuri as well. He went down, and they're talking, right, change. I thought he was gone off, and then I seen him running around about 10 minutes later. What's this fucker doing? He's still on. And then he goes down. It was constant, you know what I mean? And they knew what they were doing. And the thing that annoyed me was the commentary that I was watching it on. They were saying, it's very clever. This is very clever with Wolves. And it annoys me because it's not. You don't want to see that. It's shithouse, really, and it's.
Well, the thing is, if you watch that commentator, and they commentate on an English team in the Champions League against a team in Europe, and that team in Europe does that, he won't call it clever.
Exactly, and that's the thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind. Look, there's dark arts in football. We all know that. I think Liverpool should be doing a bit more dark arts than they do. But I don't think you can. It's it's like praising diving. Do you know what I mean? Or things like that. It happens, let it happen, but don't blame and give them credit for doing it. Do you know what I mean? But I just felt that we did have chances. The more they were wasting time, I knew there was going to be about 5 or 6 minutes. There had to be a big load.
There was going to be 2 for the subs.
Yeah.
And then looking at that, I thought if he doesn't put up 5 here, possibly 6, there'll be bleeding war. Ronaldinho Goat says, in a super chat. He says, deluded City fans and some pundits are claiming Bernardo Silva is better than Salah just to spark a debate when Salah is on track for the greatest season of all time. The disrespect this man gets. Bernardo Silva, for the record, is a fucking outrageous footballer.
I think we've all said it on here how good Bernardo Silva is.
He is. He's a little bollocks, but he's a...
well, let's not be
silly.
No, exactly. No. That's what I'm going to say. I'm just going to be quick on this. He's a brilliant footballer. Liverpool fans don't like him over the whole thing with the clapping Liverpool onto the pitch, but he's a fantastic footballer. But listen, there's not many that stack up against what Salah's doing. Genuinely, there just isn't. He's on, like, he's 19 goals and we're on the fucking, he's played 2 games in December. Like, he could literally be on 25, 26 goals by the start of January. Genuinely. No problem. So it's one of those. Mane's chance comes, there's stuff happened there, falling back. Lads, just quickly on the goal, because we've had a massive chat on Divock Origi. Kev, pass from Van Dijk, the first touch from Salah is ridiculous. But what I love from Origi is he doesn't snatch it, takes the touch, swivels, and actually puts it perfectly where he wants to put it. The keeper doesn't know what the fuck is going on. And then it all just goes off. Then it's just bedlam.
Yeah, Pete Smith put out a great tweet after the goal went in, and he said it was Gert Muller-esque.
Freddie.
And I thought, what a player to put that finish on, because I only saw the tweet after listening to the commentary, so I didn't get it until I watched it. Now, remember what I said at the start of this about players playing 3 games in a week and they're wrecked and they're physically on the limits for some of them. For Virgil to see the pass, play the pass, Mo to take that touch into space, put it into a position where Divock took the touch away from danger, swiveled and hit it on 94 minutes after the week that we've had. That's just unreal. It's crazy.
I went fucking berserk.
Yeah.
I was so relieved more than anything else. I just thought, thank God. Because the way the chances were coming and it was all so close, and Mane's done this and this Jota stuff and all that, I was just, thank God. Someone did it. If I was watching it, I'd have gone apoplectic. I know I would have. I was listening to it, I was just pure and utter relief.
I suppose when you're going mad, there is a sense of relief, and I keep talking about it, but I was literally, my wife and daughter were going out for the day. I ended up with the 2-year-old, and he was literally sitting there looking at me didn't know whether to think I was messing or whether I was just having a fucking fit. He didn't know what way to react. And the best thing with him is you just clap your hands and he just claps back to you and he thinks it's all good. But I was literally fucking roaring in the
They're the best goals.
Absolutely.
They're the best goals.
Fucking mad. Keith, Seany. Keith, you go first, then Seany. How did you feel when that went in? Because I have to go and grab another can.
Yeah. No, look, as Kev touched on there and Gav said, it's elation, you know what I mean? Like, I always have this sense that, Liverpool are going to score. A few years ago, we would have all, a game is going and, we're not going to get at now with this. The 2 seasons before, the year we won the Champions League and the year we won the league, the mentality changed within the team, and I think they always have that sort of fight in them, and I think that's come back a bit this season. Look, it could come back to bite me in the arse, but it is what it is. They get that goal and it's just like elation. You're jumping around, you're delighted. Even though I expect them to score, that's the moment that we touched on earlier that we haven't been having. Do you know what I mean? There hasn't been many of these since fans have come back. It's the one we've been waiting on. Do you know? And in a way, we've been smashing teams lately. We've been hitting teams for bleeding 4 and 5. Like, it's been ridiculous. And when you hit a team for 4 and 5, don't get me wrong, you enjoy that. You enjoy smashing everything. You enjoy smashing United. But there's something about getting a last-minute winner like that. That's just different gravy. And that's the feeling that goes through. My whole house was packed. We were all here watching it. And it just all bleeding like a circus. Do you know what I mean? We're all going mad over it. And that's what you want. That's what football does to you. That's what fans want. It's priceless. You can't put a price on that emotion that you get in a last-minute winner like that. And as we've said before, it keeps a title charge going. And you can't afford to drop points.
Seany, where did you watch it and how did you feel after it? And did you feel like that was the kick-off of this big run-in? Because I think it's the biggest run-in in Premier League history.
I was watching it in my ma's house, so watching the football when my dad went up. And I had my phone in my pocket and I forgot to turn on my live score notifications, but I just had my phone in my pocket, so I don't look. And I looked at the clock and I heard felt my phone vibrating. So I says, that's the full-time whistle, because it was on the blow, like.
Yeah.
And I goes, no, that's the full-time whistle. My dad goes, what a fucking pass. I goes, there's no way. So I was thinking,
your dad is a Spurs fan, of course, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, there's no way. And I'm saying, Mo's going to chop inside here and bend this in the top corner, didn't he? And then his first touch is immaculate, and I'm going, huh? I'm up off the seat, and I was inside to Origi, and I was roaring the gaff down. And my outfit was breaking me shy laugh, and he goes, what are you laughing at? And he goes, I know that goal went in about 20 seconds ago. Didn't say anything. And he had it up on his phone as well. He was flicking away on his phone. He's like, I'm not going to say anything to you. But I was buzzing, guy, because you know what? It's huge, because I was saying it yesterday, and look, I'm right when I say it. We haven't won ugly all season. We've been baiting everybody. When we everything is the first time we win a game where we concede. So something like that. It's the first time.
First game we win this season where we've conceded, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Something silly like that. Like, yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, going, can we still win ugly? And yes, we can. Like, we can, because that's a 1-0 away from home. Like I said, not playing badly, just winning when it's not going your way. There's two different ways of saying it. When it's not going your way and you're digging out results, after Chelsea dropping points, that would have been a good punch to them. That would have been a good punch. And best believes that would have annoyed City as well, because they would have known Watford away as a gimme.
But you see, the thing
with basically going into that game, no, I'm not saying it would have affected their performance, but they would have been like, lovely, West Ham beat Chelsea, Liverpool dropping points, and then it's like Pep's in his head.
Chance to go 3 clear, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pep is in his head going, not these again. Not these again. He will literally be hoping that it's Tuchel and Chelsea neck and neck win.
I 100% agree with you, because he fucking hates going up against us.
He hates us. He hates us.
He hates everything about us, because
he
loves everything about us, but he fucking despises it at the same time, because he knows that he could probably get in Tuchel's head. He could probably feel that he has a stronger squad than Chelsea. He probably has a stronger squad than us, fair enough. But he doesn't have what Liverpool have. And Liverpool have this...
He knows, Gav.
This kind of carefree kind of thing where we just go, we're going for this.
Back in the stadium, Anfield, like, we'll probably go on a run now where we win every game at Anfield. And genuinely. And Gary Neville said the same thing. As much as I hate the clown, he said the same thing. He goes to me, it's different. He turned around and goes, I did say something's not quite right at Liverpool. He goes, but you do get that feeling that Anfield is there again, and it's back again for them, and that's huge. And if it comes into, if we get into April, May, we're sniffing around it. Like, we are going to...
I love it. Well, now, don't get me wrong, 18, 19, I was distraught at the outcome. But I fucking loved every second of it. And 19, 20, we are so fucking good.
The journey is far, far, far better than the destination.
Yeah, 100%.
Far better than the destination.
That's how they knew last season.
And that's why you should enjoy football for what it is in the instance. You don't.
I tell you, listen, a lot of players, senior players at the club, they've taken umbrage at everything that was labelled at us last year. And you can almost see, like, they're bringing receipts this season.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? They've taken names, and they're coming back this season and smashing people who wrote us off.
Well, Jono, go on, sorry.
I was just to say, it's the likes of Virgil, Matip, Henderson, Thiago to a point, but Salah especially, and Mane. What they went through last year, they know that wasn't them, and that wasn't a reflection on what we can do. And the thing is, Pep has done it during the week about.
Sounds like John Wiki is going around the gaff.
Yeah, but you listen to Pep when he's talking about how after winning a title, sides drop off. That's a dig at us for last year, for sides that win a title and they drop off. The players have taken umbrage and shit like that, and they'll be there. We'll be there thereabouts by hook or by crook.
We won't be there thereabouts. We're winning the fucking league. I keep telling you.
We'll
I won't have a word said against it.
But like you said, like Kev said, keeping receipts, like that was never. People say that, like, do you remember that 18, 19 when we were running away with it, or 19, 20 running away with it, and every week it was one game at a time, like, and you knew it wasn't. You knew it wasn't.
No.
Like, you knew it wasn't. I think there's a false sense of nicety about the way Klopp is in the public, and I'd imagine behind closed doors he is fucking revving them up, into sixth gear every time, and you could see it was personal against Everton at Goodison. You could see it was personal. Klopp even come out and said it. He goes, I sensed the difference tonight. I knew it was big for some of them. I knew it was big for someone like Virgil, because they're sort of exercising demons in a way. You know what I mean? It is. That's what it is. They're exercising demons in a way.
And I'm delighted.
They will have name checked everyone who has written us off.
Of course, they'll have a big list. It's like when you say pin that to the dressing room door. They will probably have a big list pinned and going, right, let's mark it off. It's like this revenge tour that people are talking about. They have names there and they're going, you know what, we'll fucking show you. And people think that's a funny thing when you say, oh, you know, what, do you have the squad? Listen, belief is a massive part of football, an absolute massive part of football. And I've said it before, and I keep saying it from the start of the season, Liverpool are winning the title for me. For the simple reason is they have a few scores to settle. They've players coming back. That mix of them coming back, something to prove with scores to settle, and the quality we have, fans back. Put it this way, if we get to March the 1st, and I always say this, March the 1st is always my date. Be within 3, 4, maybe even 5 points off the top of the table. I'm back in Liverpool all fucking day long.
Well,
Jono says, go on, but Jono says,
like last year, what they were saying, like, worst champions ever, bad champions, this and the other. We weren't even the same fucking team for 80% of the season.
We 21 different centre-back partnerships, which included most of our midfield. Jono says the amount of rivals fuming after that goal was sensational. Well, we were called the Devil's Club for about 4 hours solid yesterday, and there was one girl on Twitter. Her name's gone out of my head. And she retweeted the original The Devil's Club stuff, and the replies were just, well, I say I sat for about 40 minutes reading this and was just in tears. And I want to say Georgie Girl, I think her name was.
Yeah.
But fucking brilliant. She just retweeted this thing, and I sat today and read it. I actually said to her, have you got the greatest hits for The Devil's Club? And I went and found it, and it was just unfucking believable. I had a great time. I want to go on to man of the match. And when I got onto man of the match, I want to just throw this up because this fella is my man of the match. I thought Thiago was just...
He's everyone's man of the match.
Brilliant yesterday. Accurate passes 80, 49 in the opposition's half. 92 passes altogether, 87% success rate. 11 long balls, 7 of those accurate key passes, 109 touches. Won 3 duels as well. You know, you're going to get the Divock Origi man of the match show, and I agree with that to a point, because he comes on and he scores the winner and turns the game. But overall, when you look over the 90, Kev, I'll come to you first. Is he your man of the match, or have you got anyone else?
I would have gone close with Joel Matip, because I thought he kept bringing the ball out from the back and trying to force things to happen. Thought he was brilliant at the back, but Thiago was different mustard. He was as good yesterday as I've seen him for us in a long, long time. He reminded me a lot of the Thiago that was at Bayern, especially when we switched to the 4-2-3-1. When he was at Bayern, he had Goretzka or Kimmich playing as what Fabinho did yesterday, and he just dictated everything. You can tell by the amount of touches that he had how much the player went through him, and he loved it. There was no real high risk in his passing. Everything that he tried pretty much came off. He was very, very good. He was very good. And I think there's more gears to him. I think the closer he gets to go, the closer he gets to the final third in a 3, he's better. He offers a lot more than what Jordan Henderson does in that role. So maybe it's a case when Naby comes in and Thiago plays that further roll up, we'll see another side to him again. But yesterday he was very, very good.
Keith, are you going against Thiago?
No, you can't. It's what we've all been waiting for, to see the consistency and the stability. Now, Thiago was excellent in the run-in as well last season, but to play with Fabinho there beside him, to play with Henderson, who wasn't, look, I think we'll all admit Henderson was poor yesterday. I thought Thiago was amazing, but I agree with Kev. I think Joe Matip is the best centre-back in the league this year. I think he's the most underrated probably the most underrated player in the league, because nobody talks about him being in the top bracket. I think he has been absolutely amazing, and I thought he was fucking brilliant yesterday. He's so quick, even though he's big, he's quick, he reads everything, but when he carries the ball out of the defence, like he goes on mazy runs and he's going up the other end and into the box and all. He's just a weapon. He's so unusual. I thought he was great. I thought Aït-Nouri was great for them, but Thiago for me was just out of this world. And look, we're big fans of him here. Do you know what I mean? We've been gassing about him since the rumours that we were going to sign him. This is what we were expecting to see, and I think if we can keep this consistency going, it's only going to get better. And I think we're going to use him sparingly. I know he plays the full 90 yesterday, but he's going to get 60 in games, and he'll be taken out when he's not needed to be there, because I think Klopp realises, this is what we thought we were going to do last season when we brought him in. This is the domination that I think we thought we were going to get that never materialised. And I think Klopp is going to be cautious with him. And I think we're going to see the benefits. I thought he was brilliant yesterday. I thought he's been great recently, but yesterday I thought he controlled and dictated the game.
Multisir Ali says, my only concern about Thiago is keeping him injury free. If we do that, we'll be on fire. Yeah, look, if he stays fit, and in fairness to him, like, he's had one injury at Liverpool. If you where you go, he's picked up an injury. The other one was Richarlison trying to fold him in half at Goodison. You know what I mean? But just you can't allow for that. Seany, are you going against Thiago? I doubt you will.
Nah. He's unbelievable. And do you know what? He's another one with a bag full of receipts, because our own fan base was going around saying last year he upsets the rhythm in the midfield.
Slows us down.
He's not a midfield. He's not
that was Haman that said that.
He doesn't do the doggy walk. He's too slow on the ball. He gets booked all the time. He was getting butchered. Butchered. He goes on that run, and do you know what I love about him, Gav? And it's the most impressive thing for me is he doesn't. It's not always a 9 out of 10 or a 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10. He can be quietly brilliant. I thought he was quietly brilliant at everything. And one thing that was labelled that Thiago was that he's a luxury player, but he's not, because luxury players don't do that. They're not quietly brilliant. He was
brilliant under press.
He was brilliant. He was class yesterday.
Jamie Keegan, sorry, Seany, because you just said something there. Jamie Keegan with the super chat said, I felt Thiago's defensive endeavours go underappreciated. He can have balance, depth, and spatial awareness better than anyone else bar Hendo off the ball.
Yeah, and not even that. He smells danger.
Yeah.
He smells danger. You can see there's times when he goes to make the tackle and he's late, but he's there. It's not like players are just ghosting him. The best thing for me is his little ability to nick the ball. Like Klopp says, pressing from the blind side, and that's what he does. He's great at just nicking the ball off, and then his distribution is brilliant with it. Like you've seen him for the second Salah's first goal, and he was just class yesterday. Everything that went through him, he was brilliant, metronomical, sets the tone, and honestly, if he stays fit,
when we get into the deeper stages of Europe, we'll see the best of him.
He's literally.
I have to agree with Kieran here, where he says, and I like his choice of words because it's something I would say. He says, "Luxury me bollocks." He wins the balls back so much. He's a fighter. Do you know something about Thiago? Don't watch his passes. Don't watch them. Watch his work rate. Watch how he nicks in. Watch how he's a snidey little fucker.
And he's great in the air.
You'll appreciate him a lot more. Because, look, I've nearly come to, when Thiago gets, he's going to whip one into Trent. He's going to get one into Salah. He might play a blind one into Jota. He might knock one off to Robertson, whatever it is, right? But watch the other bits about him. The other bits about him is a fella that's been around the block. He's 30 years of age. He's played at Barca. He's played at Bayern. He's played all these teams that have come up against that want to kick him, hurt him, whatever. Be physical, and he's had to be able for it. And when you watch how snidey he is, I absolutely love it about
all over the damn, kicking him, niggling at him, little nudges, knocking him down all game, and it just disrupted him.
Yeah. He's very good at getting the ref on side as well. He's very good at getting a ref on the side, and that for someone who's only been in the league 5 minutes. You know, he knows when to talk to him, when not to talk to him.
He's a quiet word.
Yeah, he is, of course.
But I love it's 10 5-yard passes in a row, 10 5-yard passes in a row, and you think he's going to be predictable, and then it's an look whipped one into Man United, like from nowhere, and he lulls teams in. Like he's so good to watch. Sometimes it does annoy me when he does the little whip passes. I'm like, just fucking pass it. But that's his thing. It's like asking a bleeding cat to bark. That's what he does. You know, like you can't tell him not to do that. This has been his thing. He's the most aesthetically pleasing footballer we've ever had.
Well, Red Steve under some other new name again. Why do you keep doing this? He said, so we're all agreed then it's a Origi. When it's clearly not. MC throws a super chat in to just about finish us off here. He says Thiago's a baller. People read way too much into stats. We've done man of the match. We've done everything. I just want to tell people, Man on Football show is back tomorrow. Tomorrow night, me and I don't know who else. I'll sort it out in the morning. But I'll find somebody. I'll try to find somebody that's not usually on regularly with me, just to come on. I was thinking of talking about the world's best number 10s. Because I had a little think. Riquelme came into my mind earlier, and I wanted to talk about number 10s. So I might do that.
But he wouldn't be the world's best, for God's sake.
No, but Riquelme came in, and he's a really, really good number. What's wrong with you tonight, Kev?
Yeah, very scorpy tonight, Kev.
Very scorpy.
I think you need to go onto YouTube and do a deep dive on Riquelme and come back to us with a different
before you upset Keith.
Yeah, I'm not happy.
He's no Ronaldinho, let's be honest.
No, but what I'm saying is I seen something on Riquelme earlier, and I thought, number 10s, let's have a chat about that. And I want to talk about mad sending offs as well, because there was a brilliant thing from Paraguay, I think it was, last night that I seen. But of course, everyone's welcome to join us at 9 o'clock tomorrow night, and you can absolutely tell us anything about football. Any weird stuff, the weirder the better. It doesn't have to be stuck to number 10s. The weirder the better. There's loads of content coming this week. The forum's on tomorrow then on this channel from 10 o'clock. Tuesday we play Milan. I'll be back with a post-match show on Tuesday. Wednesday will be the midweek fix. Thursday will be Man on Football show at 10 with me, Keith and Seany. What are we doing this week, Keith?
I think we're doing Barca, are we?
Are we?
Yeah, I think we are.
The mess that is Barca.
Yeah, should be a good one.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. And then Friday, Sports Unplugged is back, where Kev is going to give you a rundown of all the profiles of all the Formula 1 drivers competing in Dubai next week, because he's absolutely buzzing for the Formula 1. That's about it, I think. Sienna is flying. I hope you've seen her update. She's walking on her own. She's showing off now. She's doing fucking flips and everything. It's all going off. She's having a great time. She's back late this week, I think. She's back in Ireland late this week, so she's absolutely flying, and it's genuinely made our Christmas seeing the updates from her, to see her walking unaided and stuff. It's genuinely, it's fucking brilliant. Seany, anything else before we go?
No, I echo your sentiments with Sienna. It's fucking great, honestly. That's the only way I put it. It's great. I've seen her up and down on the walker. She's a jolly little self, laughing away and buzzing, and you can just tell that it's a huge. I think the word to use, no pun intended, is it's a huge step for her, and honestly, just couldn't be more proud of the lads involved and ourselves. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. Keith, anything else before we go?
No, echo what Seany said. You know, the Sienna stuff is the stuff that makes us the happiest. You know what I mean? Liverpool win, Divock scores, but you know, the Sienna stuff is where it's at for us. Laura Duffy says Keith was so excited he didn't even do karaoke tonight. Laura, I was out last night and I done a karaoke last night and I stunk the gaff out. Me out special is 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Nice choice.
Yeah, it was bad because a bit of a sore throat, so it wasn't very good.
Well, that was the 1 out of 3, Keith, was it?
Yeah, it was the 1 out of 3. But yeah, so that's why I had to lay off, you know what I mean?
And come here, what was the night out for? It was just a random night out?
It was my mate's 40th. No, my mate's 40th.
And what was it, Chinese on Cable Street with karaoke?
No, it was in a boozer, and a friend of ours was the DJ, and he does karaoke. You're going to hear this fucker singing, he's great. And he belts out right before we finish.
What boozer was it?
I couldn't tell you in case there's any...
Why?
in case they get in trouble for letting us have a sing-song.
What street is it?
No, you're good for the sing-songs at the minute.
Yeah, no, Paddy Cullen's up in Ballsbridge. And my mate's a great play. The fellow who done the karaoke, he's brilliant. And he sings Rag and Bone Man, I'm Only Human.
Yeah.
Brought the place down. And then calls me up. Yeah. And I go up and like, oh, I've a bit of a sore throat. And he goes, don't be saying that. I know you're only messing. Stinking.
Yeah. Absolutely stinking.
I was like, you could have called me up after someone shite was on. Instead, he calls me up after he brings the house down. I'm like, wasn't happy. But he thought I was doing a fakey. I wasn't.
Good night, though.
Good night, yeah. Dying today, but good stuff. It is what it is. We move.
Good sign. Kev, anything else before we go?
Man, all good. Delighted with this news about Sienna. That's fantastic. Puts everything into perspective, especially at this time of year. When you see those pictures coming in, man, heartwarming stuff.
It really is, and I'm trying to find out the exact date she comes home, because I'm going to try organise something for her for when she arrives home, because like she's literally going to be going through rehab right through Christmas and everything, you know, the sort of way. So I'm trying to organise something for me and the lads for when she gets home. Now I'm not going to she's not going to arrive home at 12 o'clock at night. We're going to be all there letting off fucking repeaters outside the gaffer like that, you know what I mean? We keep that for when she's going to school, but we'll try to do something for her. Red Steve says, I want you, Keith, I need you, Keith, but there ain't no way I'm ever going to love you, Keith.
Baby, we can talk.
Don't do it, Keith. No, you let yourself down last night. Don't do it now.
But that ain't getting us nowhere.
It's a fucking tune, isn't it?
It's a great song. Great song. Bit of meatloaf.
It's an absolute tune. Listen, thanks a million for joining us. There's fucking 500 or something watching tonight. And the chat was absolutely bouncing. I couldn't keep up with it. Please hit the like button on your way out. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And as I said, there's loads and loads of content coming this week. Reviews, previews, number 10s, not Raquel me because Kev will get upset. There's all sorts going on this week, so go and check us out and check out the Man on Football show as well. And if we have any Sienna updates, we will absolutely do that for you as well. Shawnee, Keith, Kev, thanks for joining me. I've been Gav. That's been the Fatback 4. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.